The president was unarmed, as well as everyone else who was inside of the room, according to the president and the FBI.
But now we've all seen the footage. A corny magician doing crappy tricks for everyone like he's entertaining 4-year-olds at a birthday party. A lone gunman sprinting past lollygagging Secret Service. And J.D. Vance being rushed out before even the president was. Before MAGA starts selling ear diapers again, or liberals start cashing in with sarcastic merch, what you may not have heard about is the Fox News reporter that was cut off while saying she was warned moments before the shooting. An ex-post tried to frame a Fox News reporter's on-air conversation with Leavitt's husband as evidence the shooting was staged. The ex-post said, "Holy shit, Fox News just cut one of their reporters off as they seemed to indicate the shooting was a pre-planned false flag." The post shows a clip of an interview, a Fox News reporter calling into her network after the shooting. She said she was sitting next to Leavitt's husband at the dinner, and as the event was starting, he said, "You need to be very safe." And he was just very serious when he said that to me. And he kind of looked around the room and said there are some... Then the phone call with the network abruptly ends.
I want to just quickly tell you, I was sitting next to Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary's husband. He was one of our guests. He was seated right next to me, and right as the dinner was starting, the national anthem happened, and then he kind of leaned over and said, "I watched you on TV, you did a great job. You need to be very safe." And he was just very serious when he said that to me. And he kind of looked around the room and he said, there are some...
The reporter said in a follow-up ex-post that the call dropped because of poor cell service in the ballroom. Then she said, to finish the story, he was telling me to be careful with my own safety because the world is crazy.
Nothing feels real anymore. We're living in our screens, and so reality is content and content is reality. And so what happened last night is obviously being met with incredible amounts of skepticism online, because everything that happens seems to be scripted in the way that it fits into these narratives that are being driven by our screens. Right. And so one thing that's kind of amusing is this idea of condemning political violence, because when it comes to empire, it's never actually about condemning political violence. It's about cornering the market on who gets to apply political violence and what language is used around said violence. Right. The war in Iran, violence. The genocide in Gaza, violence. Right? Inaction on climate change, political violence, right? The closing of USAID leading to 700,000 deaths, political violence. We live in a world driven by political violence, and to watch the kind of participants in the world's biggest propagator of political violence, the United States government, kind of cry these crocodile tears and pretend that it has no place in our society is actually funny. Let's have a conversation about political violence. Let's have a conversation about all of the ways our government is seemingly seeking a mass death event through all of their policies and all of their kind of psychopathic applications of American power, or their ability to do nothing, their ability to cut programs, their ability to look the other way, right? It's all fucking crazy. And so who really knows what happened last night? Who really knows? I mean, watching all of these reactions of Hegseth and Kash Patel and Erica Kirk, it's just watching a fucking reality TV show with recurring themes, with recurring characters, with literal plot lines, this one being recycled every time Trump's kind of numbers get back. It's just, this is the point. Flood the zone with shit. Our zone has been flooded. Our ability to determine an objective reality has left the building long ago. And so we're all out here on our own, kind of looking at our screens, trying to figure out what's real. And, good luck with that.
Maybe instead of more of this bullshit, we should be talking about why the American public has lost trust in the administration so deeply that the first thing most people thought was, it's staged. Because everything in this administration is smoke and mirrors, even a lot of people on the right side-eyed this event, but also felt like it was just another opportunity to own the libs. As usual, instead of this kind of situation sparking some form of critical thinking, the left was immediately disgusted by the lie they were sure this whole shit show was, and the right began calling for the immediate imprisonment of anyone who isn't MAGA. Either way, it shows just how far this country has gone down the rabbit hole of division. I pray Trump hasn't stolen our sense of humor along with our life savings. I know we're not too far gone to laugh at how ridiculous all of us have been acting since the Mango Mussolini has graced us with his presence. We Americans are probably the most diverse and unique bunch of knuckleheads on the planet. I remember when we kind of celebrated that about ourselves. Still, whether all this has been just a false flag from the beginning, or whether the shooter was just a fed-up American, like so many of us are, I think there are some absolute truths we can all agree on. We should be protecting our country from those that would hoard power and siphon as much money out of us and our children as possible. They don't have any morals or courage like we do. They just want to be kings. It's time we tried something new.
The naysayers will say that the revolution has not begun. Now, call me old-fashioned, but I remember going multiple presidencies without a single noticeable assassination attempt. And look, it doesn't fucking matter if they're coming anywhere near close to succeeding, because when it comes to assassinations, you can fail 1,000 times. You just have to succeed once. And here's where I put the disclaimer that I'm not telling anyone to go and do anything. I am just commenting on current events as they are actually happening. I am analyzing the world as it seems to be. This is not advice. This is not advocacy. But it is under my analysis that the revolution has already begun. And when you look at the world through that lens, I feel like it makes the most sense. Warehouses burning, CEOs being killed, their homes burning, being shot at, what happened at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Now, do we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that every single one of these instances were intentionally to be a part of a larger revolutionary effort? No, of course not. However, we don't need all of them to be. We only need some of them to be a part of that effort to prove the revolution exists. And we know some of them are part of that effort. Beyond that, the rest of the data points that aren't directly connected back to a revolutionary push are still happening within the backdrop of a revolutionary era. Because regardless of what the motivations of the shooter tonight were, and I'm sure we'll get more light on that eventually, but regardless of what they are, it's pretty safe to say that they wouldn't have felt emboldened to do something like what they did tonight if they were not living in this era, during this time, in context of all these other events that certainly are part of revolutionary efforts. In other words, these actions may not be revolutionary in and of themselves, but they would be reactions to the revolution, and reactions can prove the action just as much as the action itself. So again, the real news tonight is that the revolution is alive and well. And no analysis or plan that you put together is going to make any fucking sense unless you act accordingly, with that understanding, with that knowledge.
There's honestly no need for a bloody revolution, folks. Just stop going to work. You literally don't have to do anything. Just stay home and stare at a wall. Within 1 week, the capitalist authoritarian regime will panic. Another week, it'll bend. Soon, it'll break, if we want it to. They absolutely cannot fire or imprison all of us. We prop up the system by funding it with our blood, sweat, and tears, and it will topple without us. History has proven that time and time again. I mean, what are we even doing paying taxes at this point? We can at least do the bare minimum by not financially supporting the baby-graping cannibals that run this planet. Just stop feeding the beast.
You have the 25th Amendment for a reason.
I will conclude this video by acknowledging how terrified I know everyone is. It's understandable that trusting each other at this point is scary as hell. The ones in power on both sides have convinced us all that, quote, owning the libs or punishing the MAGAs is somehow more important than fighting the real enemies. It's smart. In fact, they've been doing it for thousands of years. Don't let Trump or anyone else own you like that. We are not MAGAs or libs. That's not who we are. We're Americans. We're just fucking people. We all just want some peace in this life for ourselves and for our loved ones. And we've let them brainwash us with fear and hate for far too long. Aren't you tired? Don't trade your freedom in like a cheap trinket just because you've become comfortable with hate. Be brave, and don't let each other down. If I missed any theories, please drop them in the comments below. From one rage muffin monster to another, I hope you find a soft place to fall, and some peace in your own skin. Take care.